welcome to Lick Library. My name is Lee Fuge, and in this video we're going to be answering the question that all budding guitar teachers might be asking, and that question is, how much should I charge for guitar lessons? So whether you've already started your teaching business and you're just looking to refine your pricing structure, or if you're thinking about getting into the world of guitar teaching, this is a big question. There are a load of different things that affect how guitar teachers price their services and their time, and in this video we're going to talk about those things. So the aim of this video is to help you work out what the best way to price your own guitar lessons is. We're going to be talking about overheads, experience, your location, your niche, the age of the students that you teach, and a few other different things in this video. So if you want to fast forward to any particular section, you can scroll down and hit the link in the description. Everything is going to be timestamped, so you can go straight to that section if you want. So the first thing to talk about is your overheads. Now the overheads are the amount of money that you need to live on. So this is your salary essentially. But included in that, you need to think about how much money you need to spend to run your business. So our overheads will vary drastically depending on who we are and where we are as a teacher. Now, I'm going to talk about everything in this video in pounds because I'm based in the UK, but all of these concepts apply to the US, Europe, whatever your local currency is. You can still use these concepts as ways to work out what your local pricing should be. So your overheads is going to be essentially the amount of money you need to survive each month. Think of this as the salary you need to earn to pay your bills and to eat and to put food on the table and support your family and whatever else you need money for that particular month. As a music teacher, if you are registered as self-employed, and there's a video all about this on the Lick Library channel if you need to check that out as well, you also need to pay tax and national insurance, so you need to factor that into this costing as well. So to work out your overheads, you need to work out first of all how much money you need to survive each month. Now I'm going to use some easy to work out numbers here just to highlight this point. Obviously your own numbers are going to vary very differently from what I'm about to tell you. So let's say I've worked out that I need £1,000 a month to survive. That's my overhead. So I need to earn £1,000 from teaching. So included in that is going to be all my bills, my rent or my mortgage, my food, my fuel, the money to support my family. Everything is included in that £1,000. And also that also includes my tax and national insurance in the UK, and also the cost of running my business. £1,000 is what I need to earn. Then you need to work out how many hours a month you can allocate to teaching. So let's say I can only allocate 10 hours. Now in real life, you're going to be allocating a lot more time than 10 hours, but I'm just using that to highlight this. £1,000 divided by the amount of hours I can work, which is 10, gives me £100. So therefore, with that in mind, to earn my overheads, I should charge £100 per lesson, per 1 hour lesson, because I can only do 10 hours a month and I need to earn £1,000. If I can do 20 hours a month and divide that £1,000 by 20, and that comes up with £50. So now I need to charge £50 an hour to make the money I need to match my overheads. Your overheads as a self-employed person will always vary because there are a bunch of things you can claim back against your tax bill, so you need to factor this in if you're buying and providing sheet music or other materials for your students, or whether that's consumables for your own teaching studio like strings and plectrums. There's a whole range of stuff you can claim back, so you need to factor this into your monthly costings as well. The second thing is going to be your qualifications and experience as a guitar teacher. Now, you don't have to have a university level qualification to be a great guitar teacher, but experience does go a long way. So if you're just starting out, you're probably going to want to price yourself on the lower end of your market average, which I'll get to later on in the video. This is just to kind of help you get established in the market. As demand grows for your services and you're kind of then seen as one of the go-to guys in the area, then you can start cashing in on your experience by raising your prices. Now, qualifications do help in some regards. Some students and parents of younger students may really value someone who has a high-level qualification in music. While this isn't essential, this is one of those things that does help should the right person ask to see that. As your career grows as a teacher, your qualifications will become less important and your experience will really speak for you. That's when you kind of become one of the more established teachers in your area. But in the early stages, having a good qualification can help because it will kind of give you that edge and it will kind of introduce you to the market and show potential students that you're definitely someone they should put time and money into. Number 3 is your niche. Now this is quite important, I think, for a guitar teacher because a lot of guitar teachers will always teach the widest range of students possible and the broadest spectrum of topics and skills and everything else. But if you have a niche, that gives you an advantage. Now, not every guitar teacher is going to have a niche, There are many guitar teachers who are just going to be guitar teachers. But if you do have a niche, it's definitely something worth using to your full advantage. You might be the only teacher in your area that even has the capacity to teach jazz fusion. 99% of other teachers in your area might not want to go near that subject. There might be a lot of students in the area who want to learn that. And if you have that niche, you should definitely use that niche to your advantage. A niche can really help you stand out from the crowd. It can also help you become established in a very particular field. Now, having a niche can also be a bad thing, because then you'll only attract one type of student. But again, it's working with your own career progression. If you really want to build up yourself as a great jazz fusion guitar teacher, there's your niche. Exploit that. Use that to your full advantage. Number 4, the market average price. Now, this is the average price that all the other teachers in your local area are charging. So when you start out, or even just as an established teacher, you should do regular checks on this. Look at what your competition are charging. Check out what all the other guys in the area are charging. You may find that you're either massively undercharging for lessons and other people are making more money than you, or you may find that one of the reasons you're not getting the students in is because you're charging way more than everyone else in the area is. So your market average pricing is really going to help you work out what the local area is willing to pay for this service as well. Now, your market average pricing is going to vary quite a lot depending on where you are in your country. So if you're in a big city, the average price is probably going to be a little bit higher than perhaps if you're in a rural area where there's less money overall sitting in the kind of local economy for people to spend on those kind of services. That's going to also be a big factor. So in the UK, just to give you some kind of example figures, the average price for guitar lessons in the UK is anywhere from about £25 to £30 an hour on the kind of lower end of the scale up to about £40 plus on the higher end of the scale. So again, London, you're going to be more like the £40 area, and if you're somewhere more rural like I am in South Wales, it's going to be more £25 to £30. You can obviously use your local area pricing to work this out. Similarly, if you're watching this and you're from the US, your average pricing might be anywhere from about $50 to $100 per hour, and in Europe, same kind of pricing structure as the UK, you're kind of looking at about 30 to 60 euros on the extreme ends of those spectrums. The location of lessons is also a big factor in how you can price things. So if you're a guitar teacher who's fortunate enough to have your own space at home you can teach from, or whether you rent a premises for the purpose of teaching, that means you can actually charge a little bit less. If you're someone who does mobile teaching, so you go to students' houses, you're obviously going to have to factor in petrol into the cost of the lesson. You don't want to be working at someone else's house from the same price as your own house because it's costing you money to get there. So you do have to factor that in. If you're able to teach from home, or like I said, you have a location that you teach from, then that means you can price yourself a little more competitively because you're not spending all that money to get there. Now, the cost of running a business premises is obviously going to be included in your overheads, so you probably would have already taken that into consideration, but you might not have taken into consideration the fuel cost to get to someone's house. But not only is there a fuel cost, there's also a time cost. If you charge by the hour, you have to factor in that either side of that lesson you're going to have a window of time where you're traveling, which means in that time you're unable to take other lessons. You can also teach online, and when you're teaching online you have to factor in anything you need for online teaching. So whether you have to pay for a faster internet connection to be able to teach online, or if you have to buy specialist equipment to do so, that can also be a factor in how you price things. The sixth thing is student age and experience. So if you're teaching really young students, they might not want full 1 hour sessions. They might benefit more from half-hour sessions, in which case you're going to want your pricing to reflect that. You're not going to want to charge the same 1 hour rate for a half-hour lesson, so you will definitely need to come up with a revised pricing structure to factor in people who want shorter lessons. If you're teaching really experienced students, this kind of goes hand in hand with you being more experienced. You could charge a little bit more because you're then working to a more experienced crowd, which means your services are more in demand, and perhaps you're also working within your niche at that end of the spectrum as well. And the seventh and final thing is whether you're teaching one-to-one or group sessions. So if you're teaching a one-to-one session, your hourly pricing that you've worked out is probably fine as it is. Some guitar teachers will do group sessions or perhaps workshops where multiple players will come along and have one big lesson altogether. For these, the general rule is that you usually charge half price per person of what you would charge for a full hour. So let's say you're charging £30 an hour for a one-to-one session. If there's a group session, you might want to charge £15 per person for the hour. Now, while that is half what you charge for a one-to-one session, you might have 10 people attending the group session, which then means you're going to get £150 for that 1 hour. So whether you're teaching one-to-one or in groups, this is definitely worth keeping in mind when you're setting your pricing structures. Thank you so much for watching this video on how much to charge for guitar lessons. I hope you found this content useful, and I hope this has helped you make some big decisions on how much you should price your own guitar lessons at. Let me know down below in the comments if any of these tips have been useful for you, and if there's any tips that you think are also useful for people when it comes to working out how much to charge, please throw those below as well. Don't forget you can head over to the Lick Library YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button if you enjoy this content. There's a bunch more like this over there. If you're a budding guitar teacher and you're finding these teacher-based videos useful, please let us know. We'd love to hear how you're finding these informational videos. If you're ready to take your guitar playing to that next level, you can head over to licklibrary.com and sign up for the library of lessons over there. There's a huge array of content from really basic introductory lessons through to more advanced concepts, song breakdowns, album breakdowns, and everything in between. Thank you so much for watching as always. I'll see you guys very soon.